Right, hello, this is Neil from iPaintGirls.com, and we're going to be doing the muscle structure, and we're going to be doing the arms for right now. It's really important, obviously, if you want to do comic books and you want to draw like buff characters in your comic books, because whether they're female or male, um, because you have to know the muscles. It's one thing to know the contours. You can just know the contours and get away with that for females, because females typically don't really have many muscles, but with buff guys, you have to know your muscle structure. Otherwise, it's just going to look funny, right? When you try to draw it and you don't know where the muscles are supposed to be and you're just drawing random lines and stuff, then it's not going to look right. So you want to learn your muscle structure. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be learning muscle structure. All different kinds of reference sheets. These are some female arms. Who knows who this is? You get a free cookie if you can name that character. Okay, so we're going to start out with this view here, which is basically the relaxed arm. Someone from a forward standing point of view and the arm is kind of out to the side or relaxed. This pretty much looks the same even if I move it down that way. So if the arm, if it was like, let's say kind of like that, the arm would be here. That's would look pretty much the same. So anyway, there's a slightly different view of the same thing here. And when this part here is twisted around a little bit like that, you can start seeing some of the tricep underneath it, and now you see the bicep. Notice the bicep is quite small. It's thin, and the bicep is much smaller than the tricep in the back of the arm, and that's true for most people, so keep that in mind. Right, so we're going to go through this view and the parts to stay aware of, and the mistakes that is easy to make, and how to avoid them. So the first thing is you want to start out with 1, 2, 3, 4, these shapes here. You start out with this kind of oval shape, and then you start with a longer oval shape, then this kind of rectangle shape, then a tapered off cylinder. So to do this, to draw this arm then, you would start out with this kind of oval shape like so for the shoulder. Then you would kind of add on to that this longer oval shape. And what's important here is not to forget this square part here like this kind of, not square, rectangle like that. That's part 3, and then connected to that you'll have this tapered off cylinder. Right, so that's the shapes you want to remember. This shape here is the most important shape to remember, shape 3, because that shape will make sure that your arm looks proper here. A lot of people connect this to the bicep and stuff and it just doesn't look right, and they're wondering what's wrong with the arm. That's what's wrong with the arm. So the muscles to remember then from this view that you're going to see on the inside of the forearm, even with the super buff guy, the most you're really going to see is this cut right here, and you might sometimes see a little hint of that cut there. And then you're going to have some dark shadow in here, and that this is like the armpit. So you're going to have a little, not this armpit, this is the elbow pit, I guess. You have that little bit of dark part here. Just a little bit of shadow is how you usually can represent that. And then you have this space here. There's a space in between the bicep and this part here. Really depends on the angle. Sometimes this will run into the bicep. It just depends on the angle. From this angle it's like this. Right, so the first thing I want to do then is draw the line for your shoulder. So it kind of comes like that. And don't forget the shoulder. A lot of people too, when they're connecting the arm to the body, they like forget all about the shoulder. They try to connect the bicep like right to the to the person. That doesn't work. So you have to remember the shoulder is quite large, and this part here connects, and you have the pectoral, which comes out like that, right? And then you have, I think that's the trapezoid back there or something. I don't know. I didn't really try to remember all the names of this crap. I don't really care. Names of it don't matter. It's not going to help you draw it better. So then you have this part here that comes into the armpit. So remember that, and then kind of comes like this, and you have this kind of line like that. Right, so now I'm going to do the bicep here. The tricep kind of comes around like that. Sometimes you can pull that line in. It's just a style choice. You don't have to do that, but I think it looks cool. Don't forget that part here, and then you could begin to pull this muscle out. I gotta turn the paper to get that right. And remember that this muscle is higher and this muscle is lower, because this muscle, this one here, it comes all the way up and wraps back around on the other side of the elbow. Let me show you what I mean. So from this angle here, you can see that that same muscle we're drawing from this more front angle comes around all the way over here like that, you can see from the side view, and it almost starts to connect to the tricep. And then from the back view, you can still kind of see that muscle a little bit right here, even from the back view. So you can see it comes all the way over like that and starts connecting. Looks like it's going to connect to this part of the tricep. Okay, so that's important to remember. So when you're doing that, that's why you come across that line that comes down like that. Now, maybe I should kind of draw where the wrist is going to be and where the thumb's going to be, so you can kind of get an idea of the angle that we're drawing here, right? So we're kind of drawing from an angle like that, and that's important to know because that way you know where that muscle is connecting. It's like almost like going right into the thumb. So just remember that this muscle, because when you're drawing from your mind, you have to remember all this crap. Otherwise, you're going to be like, oh man, how's that muscle looking? I have to go get a reference all the time. But if you keep doing the practices, eventually you'll get it, and then you won't have to look at references anymore. But at first you will. You'll have to keep looking at references. Make make a bunch of study sheets like I've made here. The arm from all these different angles that you might be, drawing in your comic book. So when you first start, once you get a decent handle on it, then you're going to want to reference your own work and go, okay, that's right. That's how his muscle looks from that angle. And after a while you won't have to look anymore. Right, so you have this muscle comes down, so it connects, wraps around the arm to the other side. Like I said, it starts to connect to the other side of to that part of the tricep, as if the end of the tricep and that muscle connect. And then this part seems like it's going to connect to the thumb. And then you have, sometimes, you can't always see this, but sometimes there's this other muscle that comes off here, and you get a glimpse of it at times. Depends how ripped the person is. So if you're going to be drawing like a comic book character, you can get all exaggerated and crazy because, they're like that. They're superhuman. So those are the parts to remember. And then always remember that where the shoulder, there's two parts to where that point of the shoulder connect to. One is it connects out to the pectoral. Two, it connects here to the bicep. So you can draw that line there, or just draw one line there, one line there, like I did over here. One line here, one line here. Or you can just draw these little, marks like that to show that part of the bicep is there. So that's that part of the shoulder runs to the pec, and it runs down to this part of the bicep. Remember, the bicep is quite thin, so when we draw it from that other angle I was showing before, from this angle here, you can see. Well, I think I have. There we go. You can see some of the tricep here, and you can see the bicep here is quite thin and narrow, and the tricep is much larger. And on most people, that's true. The tricep is larger. But notice I instead of drawing a straight line for this here, I don't know if you can see that. Let me put it closer. Okay, that was like a big time lag. I need a faster computer, man. The software I can't find any software that works good with my camera. It's like I have to record it too at high resolution, and I don't know why my computer can't handle something simple like recording a camera. But whatever, I need to get a faster computer. Anyway, so I drew it with just lines like this. Like a lot of comic book artists do that rather than drawing a straight line. But you can see that sometimes when this part of the arm is twisted a little bit this way, you begin to see this other line, this other muscle comes like that. So you can hint at that muscle there in like superheroes. And you'll see why, because from the side view, you see you have that muscle that wrapped around that we were dealing with before, the one that seems like it connects to the part of the tricep, and that comes down to the thumb. You have another one that comes right off of that, another muscle right here. That's that muscle we're seeing right here. We're just seeing a part of it. So that other muscle comes here. Then you have one other muscle that's right here that comes like that. So you kind of have this V here. One thing you want to practice doing is, we'll get to this part, we haven't got to the side view yet, but what you draw the side view and then try to draw it flipped the other way. So first use a reference, draw it this way, get used to it, and then try not to look at it, and flip it in your mind and draw it the other way around. And you'll probably get mixed up on where these muscles go. Just remember, this muscle connects to this one like that. They're grouped together, and this one makes a V to that one. That's a pretty easy way to do that. Okay, so I'm running out of time here. Also, try drawing this arm on the other side without looking at any references, or even looking at reference. It doesn't matter, I guess, when you're just practicing. But try it with and without a reference. But the reference I'm going to use, what I mean is use a reference that's the opposite way. So I'm looking at this reference here, but I want to draw it the other way. So we start with that, that oval, that other oval, that rectangle, and that tapered off, cylinder shape. And so you just want to remember you have, that shape there. You got one, two parts here. And you got from there you got the coming down to your pectoral. I'm going to kind of have the armpit coming. I'm going to have part of the, I'm going to kind of twist this part so I can see part of the tricep back there. I'm almost out of time here. I'm going to have to sum this up. So thank you for watching. Appreciate it. Hope that you've enjoyed what you're seeing so far. And we'll come back with more of the arm and muscles and where they go and stuff. So you can draw your superheroes all buff and awesome. Right, so practice doing that, flipping it back and forth like that. Alright, thank you for watching. Check out ipaintgirls.com for more free tutorials. And pass the site around. Put it on forums, everything. That's cool.